Mining basins are real points of support for the Romanian power sector. Viewed from above, it looks like a lunar landscape arranged in terraces, but this is a place where the activity never stops. Huge machineries with steel claws are constantly digging, searching for one of the planet's most precious resources: coal. Here in the country's southwest open pits, the story of 1/3 of Romania's electricity begins. This huge crater is Roșia open pit, the most important source of supply for Rovinari power plant. It is an impressive landscape created by man's hand, mind and machineries, measuring 18 square kilometers and covering an area almost equal to 40 football fields. That is how a 21st century quarry looks like. All the operations take place openly on the surface, on a large scale. The equipment's impressive, even seen from the air, are 30 meters high. They are practically as high as a 10-floored block of flats. Real steel giants constantly bring out from the open pits the lignite layers. The excavation process itself is a real technical performance. Coal extraction is made in a continuous flow based on working stages. During the excavation process, the soil is selected from the coal so that the lignite will be further burnt more efficiently. Thus, the overburden dumps and the lignite deposits are configured. An apparently simple process which, for the Oltenia power complex, sums up 13,800 workers, technicians and specialists in 17 open pits and 1 underground. They all separate the coal so that it may be then turned into electricity. Rovinari power plant, surrounded by 4 open pits, Pinoasa, Tismana, Rovinari and Roșia. The short distance between the open pits and the power plant represents, in this case, a huge technological and economic advantage. Here, the boilers of Rovinari power plant are practically supplied directly from the coal pit by conveyor belts. In this way, there are saved huge amounts of money required for transportation by other means. That's why Rovinari power plant branch has always registered within the Oltenia power complex the lowest cost of electricity production. At the end of its short journey, the coal is laid either on the feeding conveyor belts of the power units or in special storage facilities where it is compacted and stacked for longer periods. These conveyor belts carry per month enough coal to fill a large stadium like the National Arena. If you multiply it with 12, you will have an idea about the annual production of Rovinari Basin, almost 11 million tons of coal. Nevertheless, there is enough lignite at least for the next 40 years. In contrast to the early days, the mining activity today is no longer performed in the underground, but at the surface, so that miners are no more what they once were. Now they are rather mechanics, electricians or excavators that set in motion a gear of 170 high-capacity mining machines and almost 300 kilometers of conveyor belt that supply the 4 power plants of the Oltenia power complex with their life source, coal. Production started at Rovinari power plant in 1972, when tens of thousands of iron and concrete came to life, pulsating electricity into the national grid. 7 years later, in 1979, all the 6 power units were working, It is a huge assembly of equipment for power generation, having now an available capacity of 1,320 megawatts, enough to light 1,650,000 houses. Inside each power unit, there are equipment and technical plants that produce power by converting the heat obtained through coal combustion. In short, the story of power generated by the Oltenia power complex starts in the coal pit. Then the coal is burnt in the furnaces that heat and vaporize the water. The steam drives a turbine which produces mechanical work. The condensed water is pumped back into the boiler and the cycle starts again. The turbine has, however, been operated. It will activate an electric generator which transforms mechanical power into electricity, usually at 24 kilovolts and 50 Hz frequency, so that the transformer raises it at 400 kilovolts and then it is injected into the national power system. The steam engines have been replaced by steam turbines, much more efficient and with a superior thermal efficiency. This means more power with less fuel. Everything has been modernized lately. The flue gas exhaust stacks recently released gas emissions containing dust, nitrogen oxides and sulfur dioxides. Now, they release only steam, complying with the environment requirements of the European Union. On the right bank of the Jiu River, on the same road linking Craiova to Târgu Jiu, there is another imposing building, Turbine Power Plant. It is the largest in Romania and one of the largest in Europe, stretching over an area of 800 hectares. The power plant ensures 10% of the annual electricity consumption of Romania. Together with Rovinari, Craiova II and Ișalnița, they can provide 30% of the country's electricity production. Power generation started at Turbine in 1978. In the following years, the gigantic silhouette of Turbine continued to develop until 1987, when the 7th unit was commissioned. The highest point of stack is 280 meters. At the time they were built, only 12 objectives in the world equaled or surpassed their height. Now, 5 power units are operated, producing 1,650 megawatts plus 10 megawatts of the hydropower plant built upstream on the Jiu River at about 3 kilometers distance. The lignite at Turbine is brought from the Jilt mining basin. Unlike Rovinari, where they use conveyor belts, the coal comes here on the railway in sets of 40 wagons. Each transport has between 2,000 and 2,200 tons of lignite. There are necessary 4 such shipments to supply one single power unit every day. Once near the power plant, the coal is unloaded in special areas called thistles. Then it is taken by the conveyor belts and it reaches the giant furnaces in the boilers room. Inside, we find the same equipment and installations, only more than in Rovinari. The furnaces where the coal is burnt, the pipes that carry and turn water into steam, the latest generation turbines, and the electric generators. The 2 power plants are similar inside the machinery hall, as they have been modernized after 1990. The command and automation equipment ensure the safe operation of the units and a fast intervention in case of abnormal operation. The automation system is made using a process computer and control loops. The application allows viewing the principal schemes and the parameters evolution in the functioning of the machines, that is, pressure, temperature, flow and level, and also their automatic or manual adjustment. The refurbishment works to increase safety and efficiency in operation while reducing consumption and production costs had a positive impact on the environment. There have been made investments after the 90s to increase the performance of electrostatic precipitators and installation of devices for permanent monitoring the emissions of flue gas. Recently, there have also been implemented installations for the evacuation in dense slurry of the slag and ash resulting from the burning process of coal. By using limestone as an absorbent material, it results gypsum as a secondary product from the process of retaining the sulfur dioxide, which can be used as a raw material in the cement factories or for drywalls. Oltenia Power Complex is the only energy producer in Romania which has implemented such installations of flue gas desulfurization and evacuation in dense slurry of the slag and ash resulted from the process of burning coal. Craiova 2 power plant branch, located in the south of Craiova city, is the newest power plant belonging to the Oltenia Power Complex. Unlike Rovinar and Turceni, it also produces heat for the people of Craiova, besides power. The plant is not located close to some coal fields, so the lignite is carried on the railways. Over 2,000 tons arrive by one train in the depositing area. It is unloaded in less than 3 hours, and later it will follow the same technological process, burning, heating the water, and turning the turbines. Production started in 1987, and now it has 2 power units of 150 megawatts and 160 gigacalories. It can sustain the consumption of over 350,000 houses, being more than sufficient for Craiova, both as power and heat provider. The control room is also impressive. The technicians and engineers monitor the technological flow directly on displays. They supervise the equipment that works or which is stationary, but also everything in connection with generating power and heat. The performance of the whole plant can be not only followed, but also checked through a simple push of a button. Oltenia branch is the oldest power plant of the Oltenia Power Complex. Located about 7 kilometers away from Craiova, Oltenia power plant started producing in 1964, and since then it has produced over 200 terawatt-hour. It has a total capacity of 630 megawatts, with 2 units of 315 megawatts. For a long period of time, they have been the most reliable power units in Romania. Oltenia power plant branch is the 3rd largest in Oltenia after Turceni and Rovinari. A team of specialists are monitoring all the time the production process, and other teams ensure the maintenance works. Environmental projects carried out by the Oltenia Power Complex have also implemented depolluting technologies at Oltenia. Complying with the European environmental requests, the chimneys release no more white thick smoke, but only non-polluting steam. Due to the modernization of the electro-filters of all the plants, the concentration of dust per megawatt hour was reduced 30 times. Moreover, by upgrading the energy units for increasing efficiency, the emissions of gas having a greenhouse effect have been reduced from 1.07 tons to 0.9 tons of carbon dioxide per megawatt hour, while the preoccupation to reduce these emissions continues. A new and modern control room is the brain of Oltenia plant. The entire technological flow of the subsidiary can be watched on displays. Considering the total production capacity of 3,900 megawatts, the Oltenia power complex plays a major role on the Romanian energy market. This role is closely monitored right here, and the company's headquarters is in Târgu Jiu. Given that the European energy landscape has registered great changes focused on the development of renewables, the Oltenia power complex, as the only reliable energy producer in Romania, is an important factor of stability in the national power system and also can play an important role on the regional market in Europe. Anyone who turns an electrical switch in Romania should know that for a consumption of 5 kilowatts in the country, 1 kilowatt hour comes from the Oltenia power complex. And during these 20 minutes you watched the movie, the Oltenia power complex generated approximately 700 megawatts hour, sufficient to light up the entire Bucharest. The coal-based energy, independent of weather conditions, is today a safe, efficient and clean energy. Thus, power produced in Oltenia is not only the safest power, but also the cleanest according to European Union standards. This is the power of the Romanian land.